Hey everybody, this is Julie, the main stamper. I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up! And I'm back today with another video in my series called Mondays Are Hard, Stamping Shouldn't Be. And in this video series, I've been exploring with you fabulous cards that are made with minimal supplies and minimal efforts to get those great results. So in today's episode, we are making this gorgeous card. It's in Cherry Cobbler and Whisper White. And today we are using a stamp set called Tasteful Touches. So this is new in the Stampin' Up! Annual catalog. Great stamp set. Love the flower. Absolutely love the flower. And it's got some great background stamps in here as well besides their sentiments. This stamp set does come available as a bundle, and it comes with Tasteful Labels dies. And they are fantastic dies. So it will come as a bundle. If you want both of those, you get a 10% savings. But because this is a minimal supplies card, we're only using the stamp set. So in my Monday cards, I challenge myself to one stamp set, 2 colors of ink, and today we're using Cherry Cobbler and Blushing Bride. So one stamp set, 2 colors of ink, and then 2 colors of cardstock. We've got Whisper White and Cherry Cobbler, nice deep rich red. So minimal supplies, stamp set, ink, paper, go, right? We're making a wonderful card. I love this, it's so gorgeous. And when I designed this card, I had a hard time limiting myself to this color scheme. So if you know me, I like to play with colors, and I came up with another card. This one is in Blushing Bride, and the fun fact about this is these 2 cards have the exact same stamping on them. The only thing that is different is the matting color behind each of the pieces. So this piece has the Cherry Cobbler, and this one has the Blushing Bride, but the stamping is exactly the same. So I created 2 different cards using the same card recipe and the same stamping technique. And I also created 3 more color schemes because I just sometimes can't stop creating with color. So at the end of my video today, after I show you how to make this card, I'm going to share with you pictures on my blog as well. But I have 3 more cards in 3 different colors to show you. So I'm always excited about colors. So anyway, we're going to put this one together. It goes super fast, super easy. Follow me, let's get stamping. Okay, so always to get started, we take our half sheet of cardstock and we fold it in half, and we want to get that nice crisp edge with our bone folder. So I'm going to go ahead and burnish it once, then I'm going to invert the card and flip it around, and I'm going to do another burnish through with my bone folder, and that's going to give me the nice inside crisp line that I like to have. And I'm going to go ahead and set this base aside. We don't need that right now. We're going to bring in the biggest piece of Whisper White that we have for this card, and we're going to bring in the Cherry Cobbler ink. And the leaf. This is like a leaf stamp, so we're going to use this one first. Whenever we make our Monday cards, we are creating our own background paper because we're not adding extra designer paper in. We are just using minimal supplies, so we're kind of making everything from scratch here. So I'm going to just flip this little leaf stamp upside down and right side up and create a nice little border along the outside edge, and I'm going to get 3 and a partial on that. So this is what that's going to look like when you're all done. It's going to have a nice little border on it. And I'm going to go ahead and set that one aside. And we're going to bring in our flower white paper. So this is the paper we're going to stamp the flower on. And this is the gorgeous flower stamp. I love this stamp. It looks beautiful in any color that I've stamped it in. It's just absolutely wonderful. This one I'm going to stamp right in the middle of this white cardstock and get a nice image there. And then I'm going to bring in the Blushing Bride. So the lighter pink ink is going to come in next. And I'm going to bring in this background pattern stamp. It's got like some little flowery lines on it in a nice little jagged pattern. We're going to actually stamp off, and then we're going to stamp 2nd and 3rd generation on here to get a little bit of a lighter effect. So again, I'm going to stamp this one off, and I'm going to start on this side this time. So I'm getting a little bit of a pattern, and that turned out really nice. I don't want to over stamp this. I just want it to be mostly on the edges, top and bottom. I've got the darker 2 stampings here in opposite corners and the lighter 2 in opposite corners. So this piece is all set as well. Like I said, this card's going to go together so fast. Now, for this next part of stamping, I have 3 little 1/2-inch strips of paper. if you have a ton of these laying around when you trim your paper and you're not sure what to do with them, this is a great technique for using them on your card front. So I've got 3 of them. They're 1/2 inch wide by 5 inches long, and we're actually going to take 2 of them and put them together. They don't have to be exactly together, but this is just going to minimize some of our stamping. So we're going to use the same stamp that we used just a moment ago, and we're going to actually stamp these papers at the same time. So I'm just going to full strength stamp, and I'm going to go right down the line here. So by lining them up side by side and doing it together, I'm just avoiding stamping each one individually because they're small and we can get the coverage here with the width of the stamp. So basically I've just created 2 little background papers with this beautiful background pattern. We're going to set those aside a little bit, and we're going to bring in the 3rd because we did have 3 of these 1/2 inch strips. So for this one, I'm going to bring back in the Cherry Cobbler ink and the leaf sprig, and this one we're going to just stamp as well. This time I'm trying to just get the leaves in, not necessarily the stem. So I'm just trying to get a nice coverage here. There's a lot of overlap on this one. Obviously the paper is much smaller than the stamp itself. So however this works for you to get this covered in this great red ink, I'm going to try to not touch it too much. As summertime goes on here, it takes a little bit longer for the ink to dry, and then I just end up with more ink on my fingers, and that transfers so easily to places that I don't necessarily want it to go. We're going to bring in one last piece of white cardstock for stamping. This is our sentiment piece. So I'm going to bring in our sentiment saying, which says, "The good things in life are better than you." And this is also going to be in our Cherry Cobbler ink. So I'm going to ink up my stamp and do my best here to center this on this piece of paper. And there it is. So there is my sentiment. So we just did all of the stamping for this card. So again, this was a super fast, easy stamping card. Fantastic looking card though, for sure. So now we're just on to the actual layering part of it to put it all together. So I'm going to bring in my Cherry Cobbler, and this piece that we stamped the leaf on is going to go on top of the Cherry Cobbler. So I'm just going to add some ink, add some glue. I'm adding glue. Oh goodness, sometimes the words, I tell you. But here we go. We're adding glue or adhesive, tape of your choice, onto the Cherry Cobbler here to create this piece. And then we're going to add in our 3 layering strips that we just did. I like to start with the middle strip. So I'm putting the cherry leaves here, the cherry colored leaves, in the middle. So I'm just going to line this up. This is going to be the exact same height here as this piece of white. So I'm just going to line it up here, kind of in the middle, kind of leaving some room on either side here to add in my other strips. So there's one, and then we're going to add in this next one here. So a little bit of adhesive on that. And I leave a little bit of room in between each one, and I like to leave a little bit of white showing here along the side edge as well. So just line up one of those, and then we're going to line up the last one here. So again, a little bit of adhesive on the back of that, and that's going to go on here. And again, spacing is not crucial. The nice thing is that we do have a white background here where our pieces are layered on, so it's not an abrupt color change, so it's not so noticeable. And we're going to layer over top as well. Not so noticeable if it's crooked. If it's a little bit crooked, that's okay. This layering piece right here is ready to go onto our card base. So I'm going to again attach my adhesive and bring in my base, and I'm going to just put this one on here. And here is the card base. I'm going to flip this over, I think, and yep, I've got some red ink. Red ink is transferring very nicely today. So there's the beginning of our card right there. Now we just have a few more things to put together and assemble on. So I'm going to bring in my layering piece of Cherry Cobbler with the flower stamped piece. And this one gets it here together. I like to create these nice cardstock color mats. I think it just makes your stamping look very elegant when you can add a mat onto it. So there's that piece. And then for the sentiment piece, we also have Cherry Cobbler cardstock to go behind, because we like to be consistent. I like to have consistency going on. And if something's layered on the card with some nice back cardstocking, I like to continue and follow through. So I'm going to actually flip this one upside down again and just rub it from here so that I can get that to stick without rubbing my hand all over it. Now these guys are ready to go onto the card front as well. I'm going to start with the sentiment layer because this one is going to hit the bottom, and I want to make sure I'm leaving enough room that I can get everything on here that I want. So this should, this red cardstock should hit the edges of your red cardstock here as well. And I like to leave a little bit of room on the bottom. And then we're going to add some adhesive to this nice matted piece with the flower on it. And this one goes up here. Again, I like to leave a little bit of a white edge here. It just makes it look really nice when you can see just a little bit of white peeking out. And again, I'm going to flip this upside down and rub it and make sure that my adhesive is securing nicely. And here is the front of our card already done. That was really quick, right? So it is absolutely beautiful, and we always do a little bit of stamping on the inside. So I'm going to show you that I'm going to stamp a little bit more because it did go together so fast. You can see why this is a card that you can make multiples of very easily. I'm bringing back in the flower stamp and the Cherry Cobbler ink, and I'm just going to stamp that flower down here in the bottom corner. And then I'm going to bring in, again, the Blushing Bride ink and this background stamp as well. And I'm going to just ink this up a little bit. And I'm going to try to just hit half of this stamp at a time. And I'm going to layer it along here onto the bottom. And then I'm going to actually rotate my card facing me. And I'm going to do this again over here, getting another half of the stamp onto there as well. So that way I've got a little bit at the bottom and a little bit at the top. But it's not overpowering. There's plenty of room in here for a sentiment and for you to write your well wishes. So this is the outside. This is the inside. I always say that backwards when I'm recording this. This is the inside and this is the outside. And it's absolutely fantastic. I love this card. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this card today that we made with the Cherry Cobbler in Whisper White using the Tasteful Touches stamp set and those minimal supplies. 1 stamp set, 2 ink pads, 2 colors of cardstock. So earlier I showed you that I made the Cherry Cobbler. I also made one in Blushing Bride. And then I also created more cards because sometimes I can't stop with the color thing. And this one is in blue. So I used a darker blue and a lighter blue to create this card. So again, same card layout, same recipe, just different colors. And after I got done with the blue card, I made one with purple. So this is the purple one, and it is Rich Razzleberry. And so again, same card layout, same card recipe, different colors of cardstock and ink. And then one more card and then I had to stop, but I did want to make one in green. So this one is in Garden Green. So again, we're looking at the same card recipe and the same card layout. So I'm showing you that you can create cards with this recipe using different stamps. You can use different colors. All you have to do is incorporate your imagination. Colors are fantastic. I think as card makers, we love color. So get in those craft rooms. Grab out some colors that really inspire you. Get your favorite stamp set out. My blog will have the card recipe, the dimensions that went into this, so you can get that recipe, cut out your paper, make this into a card of your own making. And so just make sure you check out my blog and get that recipe. And also, please come back and see me next Monday. I will come up with another card, another recipe. We'll do some more stamping, have some more fun. So have a great crafty week, everybody. Bye.